not actually anchored to something else.
I see. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's a really helpful advice. But especially, let's say for people who are in the early days of career, and they have a job, but they don't know actually what their core value, what they're really good at. Then what advice would you give them, like to find in their core value and identity?
Well, I think that it doesn't matter at what point in your career you are in, you have some understanding of what your core value is, and you can adjust that as you develop further. So I wouldn't have said in the early days of my career necessarily that what's really important and what my real value is that I can write in a distinctive voice with a very distinctive point of view. That's something that came later once I had a distinctive voice and had a creative point of view. But back then, I might have said what I'm really good at is I might have said, I process complex information and make it useful to others. That might have been something that I said, which is true. That's the core skill set that I have as far as I'm concerned. So when I got out of college and my first job was at a tiny little newspaper, that's what I was doing. I was running around town trying to figure out things that were happening in the community and then digesting that information and turning it into local newspaper stories that would be useful for people. But I didn't want to identify as a local news reporter. That didn't really feel like my identity. And so and at the time I would have just thought of myself as a newspaper reporter, but I now realize that that's too limiting. So at any stage of your career, you can still push yourself to ask. The exercise that I do is to have people first ask themselves